Yo, I was going to back in the video, and today I'm going to talk how the Golden State Warriors may have created the first almost like endless dynasty. Now, what I mean by this is how long this dynasty has really lasted. They just won a championship this year, and they have been doing this now for damn near a decade at this point, and it doesn't really look like they're going to stop anytime soon. And by endless dynasty, I'll be getting into the past moves that they have made, the present moves they are making, and what I think their team is going to look like going into the future. So if that does sound interesting to you, please hit the like button, subscribe button, and the episode word to me. But without further ado, without ruminating on too much, let's get right into this video. So the first thing we get into this video is going to be the past moves they made that really set up this entire dynasty to even start in the first place. So now, obviously, the first move is going to be in 2009, they went on and drafted Stephen Curry with the 7th overall pick in that draft. And a lot of people at the time, it was a controversial pick. They didn't know if he was going to be that good or anything like that because of his size. He was kind of small, plus his ankle issues. And it was really the first time someone like Steph Curry was ever in the draft that played like Steph Curry. So that's why he was such kind of a controversial pick. But I think it's safe to say that first pick, the 7th overall pick, really did end up working out for them. And then the next move that really set up this dynasty and moved them forward was in 2011 when they set up the rest of their foundation for years to come and finished off their big three by drafting Klay Thompson and Draymond Green in the same draft. And looking back at it, that's got to be one of the best draft hauls of literally all time. You got one of the best shooters of ever, and then one of the best defenders ever as well in the exact same draft class. So really, you can't do any better than that if you are the Golden State Warriors. And although that is the last big name they've drafted in a very long time, at least like all-star level name in a very long time, they still had a lot of underrated moves that set up the early Golden State Warriors dynasty, and they really do fly way under the radar, as just a year later in the 2012 draft, they drafted Harrison Barnes in the first round, and he was a huge part of that championship teams just 2 years later. Harrison Barnes is a very solid player, and he was a huge part of that team. And then you just go a few more moves down, then they traded for Andre Iguodala, one of the best defenders in the league at the time, an all-star level player at the time, and he really proved over time that he is the perfect leader that team needed. He was kind of a veteran compared to all the other young guys on that team, and he was just the perfect player for that Golden State Warriors team. And he proved that, as he was not only a huge reason why they would win the 2015 finals, but you could debate that he was the reason, as he did end up winning finals MVP that season. So not that season, but the year they won the championship. So I think it is very, very impactful that they were able to do that, and those are underrated moves. Like, not a lot of people talk about the Andre Iguodala trade, but without that, does this dynasty ever start? We don't know. Without them drafting Harrison Barnes, are they good enough? Do they have enough depth to win that 2015 finals? Nobody really knows overall. So these small moves really do add up over time. And then after they did trade for Iguodala, they went on to sign Steve Kerr, which I think is a big part of this dynasty starting. I don't think a lot of coaches would have bought in as much as Steve Kerr did to the three-point line, to playing this new age style of basketball, and I don't know if they would have been able to set up a system like Steve Kerr set up. So I think Steve Kerr was a huge reason to why this dynasty ever was able to become a thing and form into what it is now. So all these smaller moves are really starting to add up, and he built the perfect system around Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, and I think for sure he's probably one of the main reasons, outside of drafting the big three, to why this championship run has lasted so long for the Golden State Warriors. And then really just the final piece of the puzzle, right before the NBA season started, they went on and signed Shaun Livingston. And Shaun Livingston is another huge piece to why they were able to win the finals, because he really solidified what their motto was, which was strength in numbers to win the 2015 championship. And that is exactly what happened. Their strength in numbers worked, and they went on and won their first NBA finals of this Golden State Warriors dynasty era. And it really looked like they had no stop coming in sight. They were just going to keep getting better. Yes, Iguodala and Shaun Livingston are going to get older, but at the time they were still very good players and worked out very well for the Warriors. And that is like I said, their strength in numbers is why they won that 2015 NBA Finals. And then in the next season, although they didn't make any major moves, it looked like they were just way more on track to win the finals, as they set the win record that year at 73-9. Like, no one expected them to lose the finals. I think they didn't lose a game in the NBA playoffs until the NBA Finals, and it took them choking a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals to end up losing it. So unfortunately, they were not able to go back-to-back due to one of the biggest choke jobs we have ever seen in NBA Finals history, but still, they did show that they are by far probably the best team in the league, and they just happened to choke a 3-1 lead in the finals at the worst possible time, but they still were probably probably the best team, undoubtedly. But although LeBron did win that year, it still showed that the Warriors are the very real deal. And really, that really just prompted them to go into the next offseason and sign Kevin Durant. And then obviously after they signed Kevin Durant, everyone knows the story. They dominated their way to 2 straight NBA Finals, and then they lost the last one due to Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant both getting injured, and they lost to the Toronto Raptors. But they easily won 2 NBA Finals. It wasn't even fair. Kevin Durant won both Finals MVPs. It was never close. LeBron didn't stand a chance with the Cleveland Cavaliers, especially with those last few teams. So really, the Golden State Warriors now had 3 NBA Finals under their belt, and 2 of them were pretty much guaranteed, and they easily could have had 4 if they didn't choke a 3-1 lead to LeBron James in 2016. But then, if you start going even farther in time, now we're getting into the present day moves. What have they done to really adjust to how the NBA is today? So although the present-day Golden State Warriors did kind of get off to a rough start, they did not really have full control over that. As Steph Curry was dealing with injuries, Klay Thompson, I think, tore his Achilles like twice or something. He stayed out for a very long time. Plus, they had to trade away Kevin Durant, and they traded Kevin Durant for, at first, D'Angelo Russell, and D'Angelo Russell was okay. He wasn't bad, but he really just didn't fit with the overall team, and those teams ended up being very bad, which then resulted in them trading D'Angelo Russell for Andrew Wiggins, which would end up being a very big deal later on in the Golden State Warriors history, but that's a little bit farther down the line. But just know, at this point, I'm saying that they traded for Andrew Wiggins, and we kind of got past the whole D'Angelo Russell thing already. And then, the biggest thing they did, not biggest, but one of the biggest, in 2019, they drafted Jordan Poole, who was very, very solid, and this was one of probably their best picks ever, because yes, Steph Curry was obvious, Klay Thompson wasn't obvious, but he was a high pick. Now, you could debate Draymond Green, but Jordan Poole ended up being an integral part to why they won the NBA Finals. Like, he was an absolute monster in this year's playoffs when they won it, and I think for sure Jordan Poole would go on to be one of their best draft picks of all time. And then in 2020, they were once again very bad, and they got the 2nd overall pick, which resulted them in drafting James Wiseman. And James Wiseman, although not having the biggest impact on the Warriors, is still the 2nd overall pick, and we haven't really seen what he can be in the NBA yet due to injury problems, but still, James Wiseman is a very solid player. And then in 2021, they were also able to draft Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, both of which are very solid players, and I think are going to be very good for them for years to come. Now, you might be asking why I went through all those draft picks, and the reason I did that is because, in my opinion, I think it shows how they were able to rebuild this team and get back to their 2015 motto of strength in numbers. Now they have tons of young guys to go forward in the future. They're going to develop them, they're going to build them up, and they're going to get even better and better, and they're going to stay deeper and deeper on the bench, which is so important when you're trying to play an entire 82-game season, plus you're trying to make a deep playoff run every single season. So that is going to make it a way easier task to do, and it's going to help rest the older guys like Curry and Klay more, because now they don't have to play as much, and maybe the young guys can take over a little bit and try to win them more games that they wouldn't have been able to if Curry and Klay weren't playing as much as they were. So I think for sure that these young guys are going to help a lot, and they're really helping the Warriors get back to that strength in numbers motto. We saw Kuminga have a solid impact on the team last year. Jordan Poole had an unbelievable impact on the playoffs last year for the Golden State Warriors. I'm not sure they win the finals without him. And then also, like I said, James Wiseman and Moses Moody, both of them not really playing for them yet, but James Wiseman was due to injury, and I think he's going to have a much bigger impact this season, and they're probably going to make the Warriors even better. And Moses Moody is still developing, and he looked very good in the Summer League this year. So I think for sure Moses Moody will probably have a little bit of an impact as well. And really, all of this to say that I think the strength in numbers is a huge reason why they went on to win the 2022 NBA Finals, and I think for sure that is not going to be their last one. I'm sure, I don't know if they were winning it next year, but I bet you they do win one fairly soon once again. Because if you look at their future as well, although I cannot predict what future moves they're going to make and what future draft picks they're going to make, I can say what I think their future projects to be from their current roster. And they now have so many young guys. Like, I think James Wiseman is going to be a very good center in this league. Jonathan Kuminga can be one of the best defenders in this entire league with athletic upside on the offensive end. Moses Moody showed so much potential in the Summer League this year, and I think for sure at his peak, he could be a solid scorer in the NBA. And then Jordan Poole might be an all-star level player one day as well. And I just think for sure this team is going to be finals contenders for years and years to come. Because even without Steph Curry, Klay, and Draymond, they have one of the best young cores in the entire NBA while staying one of the best teams in the entire NBA, which is something that's damn near impossible to do. And that's why I think this endless dynasty is going to last for so long. Because by the time Curry and Klay and Draymond decide to hang up the shoes and retire, now Jordan Poole might have developed into an all-star level player. Jonathan Kuminga could be an all-defensive type player. Wiseman might even be an all-star level player. We don't know where he can go. And Moses Moody could be an extremely good role player. And depending on who they're able to sign in for agency and who they're able to keep bringing in and recycling, because they just keep getting solid guys every year. They've signed multiple very solid guys this offseason, even after losing other solid guys that they've already had on their roster. They're just so good at recycling and replacing guys that I think for sure this front office and this coaching staff and really this team overall is going to stay a dynasty for a very long time. But unfortunately, guys, that's my video. So comment below. Do you agree with me? Do you think that the Warriors are going to be a dynasty for a long time? When do you think it's going to end? How many more finals do you think they're going to win? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And I hope you have a blessed day. Have a blessed day. So you have a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.